This is the quickest and easiest way to top up sealant in your tubeless tyres. I'm going to start this video by saying that there's two different ways that we can top up the sealant. There's the quick and easy way, and there's the long and hard way. Today we're going to talk more about the quick and easy way. To very quickly sum up the difference in 10 seconds or less, the quick and easy way, we're just going to top up sealant in through the valve, and the long and hard way is we take half the tyre off, look at how much sealant's in there, and then put more in as needed, put the tyre back on, pump it back up. Just a few extra steps. So given the fact that there is a quick and easy way to do it, why would you bother doing it the long and hard way? Well, I think I've got a couple of short answers for that. The first one would be that when you take half of the tyre off and you can look inside, you can pretty clearly see how much sealant is or is not in there, and you can put in as much as is appropriate, I suppose. So that would be the first thing, just to be able to see how much sealant is actually in there. Another reason could be that as the sealant's sloshing around there and it starts to dry up, it can eventually clump up into a little ball, you know, no bigger than part of your finger, I suppose, that's rolling around inside of there. If you were to top up extra sealant into there, that sealant will gravitate towards that ball and that will just be rolling around inside there, and you might even hear it bouncing around. So if we've got half the tyre off, that's a good chance for us to remove that ball and put it safely in the bin. But since this video is about how to do it quickly and easily, let's dive straight into it. So what do we actually need to top up the sealant? Well, we're obviously going to need some more sealant. You can get the sealant in two different ways. You can get it in a big bottle. If you're a workshop and you do lots of bikes or you want to have lots of it at home, you can get a bottle. If you get a bottle, it's probably not a bad idea to grab a syringe as well, just so you can suck up the right amount. Or you can get these small bottles that are perfect for the occasional top up of your tyres. If you do buy one of these, don't throw the bottle out once you finish using it, because you can always buy another bottle and keep topping it up as needed. I can already hear you asking, how much sealant do I need for my bike? Well, we were actually brainstorming this behind the scenes before we turned on the camera about how much to put in there. And then on the back of this bottle, there's a sticker that says, see inner label for sealant volume chart. So I peeled off the back of this and it blew me away, good job Stans, because there's actually a little table chart here. I'll put it up on screen. If you want to have a closer look, you can pause and have a good look. But what I'm reading there is pretty much it saying that you want to use one of these bottles, which is 60 milliliters, for a road bike. And if it's a mountain bike, you might want 2 per wheel. You'll also need a pump to pump up the tyre again, because we're going to let all the air out before we put the sealant in, and you won't even need a tool to take the wheel off. So you can leave your Allen keys at home, because we're going to leave the wheel on the bike. The one tool you will need, however, is a valve core removal tool. I'll show you how to use that in just a sec. So step number 1 is we want to remove the valve core, which is this little part here. As I undo that, I'm going to hear all of the air come out really quickly. If you wanted to make this a slightly longer process, you could slowly leak air out, but well, it already had no air in it anyway. But I've now removed the valve core. You're probably wondering, what did I actually do there? Let's jump over to the bench and I'm going to show you a close-up of what we just did. So to give you a quick summary of the anatomy of the valve, the black part that we've got here is the valve stem, the silver part is the valve core, and right on the end, this little bit that's able to move a little bit, that's the actual valve. So when we're using our valve core removal tool, we're removing this silver part from the black part so that we can then put sealant in through the black part. So the valve core removal tool, which looks just like this little piece here, is going to slot over the top of the valve, and it's going to sit on the valve core like that, because the valve core is threaded inside the part of the valve stem. So we'll unthread it all the way until it can then come completely out. And this is what the valve core looks like inside the valve. So this is the valve, and now we can see through it. And once you've removed the valve core, put it in a nice safe spot where you're not going to forget it, because that thing is tiny. If that was to roll off the bench and go under the table, it will become lost. And now the next step is we're actually going to put sealant into the valve. So I've got my little bottle here. I purposely just grabbed one off the wall because I like to reuse the bottle. I don't want to open the seal on this new one because I'll give that to a customer another day. So I'm changing. But we're going to grab our valve core, and we want it to be sitting not straight down and sort of, you know, not up to the side as well. We kind of want it to be a little bit lower than that. It can be resting on the floor, and that bottom part of the tyre might just be squashed up because it's sitting on the floor. Doesn't matter. I am lucky enough to have a work stand here. All we're going to do is literally just pour it straight in. If you've bought one of these bottles from the bike shop, there might be a little seal in there that you've just got to peel off, so the fluid might not come out unless you actually have set the bottle up, I suppose. And we're literally just going to pour the entire bottle in. So I'm just going to line it up and be quite delicate. You wouldn't want to have your white socks underneath it, just in case you spill it. So I've got my feet to the side, and I'm just going to squeeze it in as much as I can, and then let it bleed the air out. Squeeze the rest. I can already hear that the bottle's actually empty already, which is good. I'm trying to get all of the air out as much as I can, and I'm moving it off to the side really slowly. If I just pull it off quickly, it might actually spray some out, and we don't want to make too much of a mess. So that's all in there now. And I'll grab our valve core that we put in a nice safe spot, thread it on with my fingers at first, because as we know, we always want to start the thread with our fingers, not the tool straight away, so we're not cross-threading it. Tighten it up with the tool. Doesn't have to be ruthlessly tight, just so long as it's going to have a nice airtight seal. Open up the valve, and now we'll pump it back up. Now that it's time to pump it back up, if we can still see that the bead is sitting on the rim and it hasn't dropped in, this step should be nice and easy. We're literally just pumping it up the same way that we normally would. But if you find that the bead has dropped off, and as you're pumping it up, the air's not actually going in there, the tire's not getting any harder, I've got another trick that we could do there. I'll quickly show you what I mean. And my trick here is, if the air is just not going in fast enough, it's leaking out faster than it's going in, we can grab our valve core removal tool again, remove that valve core, put it into that same safe spot that we're not going to forget about it, and we can put the pump straight onto here. What we'll notice here is as we're pumping it up, the air will go in nice and quickly, it will go in really well, but as soon as I take the pump off, since there's no valve there, the air's going to leak all out. And now it's all back out. So that will be a good trick that you can use just to get the bead straight back on, but then all the air is going to come back out, and you're going to have to use your valve core again to completely repump it up, because now it's completely flat again. So this is not a necessity, but this isn't a step that you have to do, but it might just get you out of trouble. All right. And now that you've done one wheel, we're halfway through the job because we've got the other wheel to do as well. Don't forget, most bikes have 2 wheels, so we'll have to do the other one. Perfect, all done. Congratulations, you've topped up the sealant the quick and easy way. This is something that I would recommend doing every 3 to 6 months. If you're riding your bike all the time and multiple times a week, it might be every 3 months, but if you're not really using it very often, it might only be every 6 months. Awesome, nice work. You've topped up the sealant and now you're all ready to ride. But before you go for a ride, just clean up any mess that you might have left on your mum's garage floor. Otherwise, she might not give you dinner that night. Or at least that's my experience. Just clean up your mess. I think that sums up everything that we needed to do in this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your next 3 to 6 months flat free, hopefully. And otherwise, I'll say we'll see you in the next video. See you later, guys.